Inter Milan have been a shadow of their former selves ever since Jose Mourinho departed after completing a historic treble. The special one would continue his adventures with Real Madrid, adding another domestic title to his burgeoning list of honours. Meanwhile, Inter Milan have suffered from mediocrity and implosion. The club have gone through several ownership and managerial changes, but none have sparked any change in their fortunes, not until Antonio Conte took charge of their ship. The combatant manager is a man in Mourinho's mould. He's always looking to win and was the man who changed Juventus' fortunes when he took over from Luigi Del Neri in the summer of 2011. He stands as one of the most decorated Juve players of all time, and as manager, his 3 successive Serie A triumphs have to be regarded as coups rather than expected outcomes. After all, prior to his appointment, Juve had finished 7th in their last 2 campaigns. After a decade and a 2-year stint with Chelsea, an Italian national team, Conte has the task of making Inter Milan champions of Italy. With Juventus racking up their 8th successive title prior to his appointment at the San Siro, it's a far tougher task than what he took on at the Allianz Stadium. But Conte is used to tough. He made Italy competitive during his 2-year reign and then won the Premier League title with Chelsea at the first time of asking. Had Inter Milan backed him to the hilt in the summer of 2019, Conte might even be doing the number with the Nerazzurri. We do not get storybook starts and finishes in life, and this is something the Italian tactician would attest to. After all, he likes to make his job tougher. In a similar fashion to his axing of Diego Costa after winning English top-flight honours, Conte decided to axe his most prolific forward, Mauro Icardi. The fact that he did it, even without giving the Argentine troublemaker a minute on the pitch, is more troubling. Conte believed that to make Inter a team in his own image, he needed a talisman who would grace newspaper headlines and not drag the club's name through the mud. Juan Donara had a field day with the press, but the now 50-year-old coach did not budge. Icardi was loaned out to Paris Saint-Germain and Romelu Lukaku brought in from Man United. The axing of Inter's previous captain helped Conte set the tone, and the Nerazzurri started the campaign brilliantly. Inter Milan went into the festive period neck to neck with the old lady. Lazio were in close pursuit, but the 2 Italian giants were setting the pace. The hierarchy realised their title chances and backed the manager in the transfer market. Christian Eriksen would join from Tottenham, Ashley Young from Man United, and Victor Moses from Chelsea. This was a squad forming the image of their manager and ready to enter the second stretch of the season. The restart has not been kind for Conte's men, and they have failed to display the same tenacity prior to the coronavirus enforced lockdown. They are 6 points behind Juve with 5 games remaining. With games against Atalanta, Roma, Fiorentina and Napoli remaining, their title charge is all but over. Juventus will be crowned Italian champions for the 9th successive season. Conte has done a remarkable job at the club, therefore it begs the question, why would he want to leave after guiding Inter Milan to their best finish since the 2010-2011 season? It all stems from the fact that Conte is always asking for more. More from his players, more from his coaching staff, and more from the owners. He lives and breathes his job. Defeat is part of the game, but failure is not part of his equation. So in order to seek perfection, Conte ruffles a few feathers. He learnt it the hard way at Chelsea and might learn it soon enough at the San Siro, only a single year into his 3-year deal. To answer with absolute certainty that Conte will leave is a big equation with lots of variables. We need to analyse them all to arrive at an educated answer. But one thing is for certain, Conte will not leave without giving his best in the Serie A. He's dedicated to his job, perhaps to a fault. Even after Chelsea had decided to move on, Conte kept on coming to the training ground to prepare for the next season. His last media engagements showed the force of his heartbreak, but he did not let it slip. Gianfranco Zola had to stand up for him given his standing as a club legend and Conte's friend, but it was too little too late. The bridges had been burned. Conte's not reached that stage yet, or so it's assumed. He doesn't like losing, no manager does, but he's more vocally passionate than his peers. This is the kind of attitude that doesn't stand right with the pampered stars of today. Moreover, you have to have players with leadership in the squad. Milan Skriniar is one, Borja Valero is another, and Diego Godin finishes the list. Take them out and you have a very timid squad. Lukaku does not like to show his feelings much, but thankfully Lautaro Martinez is a bit more emotional on the field. Marcelo Brozovic does not, but Borja Valero playing alongside makes the midfield more responsible. The squad is transforming but needs time. The only thing Conte does not want to give a lot. He still has the same mentality that he had during his playing days. As a midfield destroyer, he was a leader at Stadio delle Alpi and did not give an inch to rivals or teammates. As a manager, those traits have served him well. Conte wants Inter to be like him, but it's a tough task. Christian Eriksen has always been a soft-spoken person, and coming out of his shell in a new environment will take some time. A lot lies on Eriksen, and the gamble on him should come to fruition, as according to Conte, he holds the key to Milan's title success, but it does not mean that Conte will go lightly on his side. Eriksen's personality was openly called out in the media by the tactician as he implored him to be more assertive. And after Inter capitulated against Bologna at the start of July and the whole squad got a dressing down, no one was allowed to leave the changing room until the manager had vented his frustration at the squad. Teams challenging for the title do not let slip a goal lead against a 10-man side. One can argue the merit of the excessive vocal attacks, but it cannot be argued that not all players feel the same way. These incidents cause rifts, and some seeds might have been sown. Dealing with the players at his disposal is one part of the equation. Getting the players who he believes will add value is the other part. Ashley Young and Victor Moses have had an immediate impact as part of the first team, but there are more additions that Conte wants. N'Golo Kante is one such player. The highest earner at Chelsea has been linked with a reunion with his former manager, and the manager has to beg for his addition. It requires another mammoth outlay, one that the management will be unlikely to put up. They are more willing to listen to Emerson Palmieri's addition, as he would be available on a cut-price deal. Without backing from the club's hierarchy in the transfer window, Conte's fractious relationship with the board will rear its ugly head. When quizzed about the Inter board, unhappy with their performances after the restart, Conte jumped to the defence of his players. However, the Lecce native did let slip that he would leave if his work is not appreciated. This is not the first time that Conte has come out in the open about his frustrations. After Inter Milan's defeat to Borussia Dortmund, the manager openly questioned his squad's limitations enforced on him by the club. Chairmen do not like to have their integrity questioned in the open, and it should be considered a strike one for Conte at the San Siro. Strike two was his response to their poor performances after the restart. Failure to reinforce the squad as he wants would result in a mutual strike three. Inter's run of form in the coming fixtures and the meetings at the end of the season will determine whether strike three would come into effect. It will not be dependent on who delivers the final blow, the club or Conte himself, but only that it would be delivered. He left Chelsea on bad terms, and a repeat would make him an unwanted identity. Inter need the 50-year-old to be happy and content to realise their title ambitions, and Conte needs to put a brake on his feverish pace. This is a relationship of tough love, and only time will tell how long it lasts. For his part, Conte has set the terms, and Inter have to follow suit.